Ted Martin was addicted to marijuana. When that wasn't enough, he moved to stronger stuff. But you know, the day was coming when his dirty little secret was going to be revealed. Watch his story.
Looking at his beautiful artwork, it's hard to believe that Ted Martin was once an uneducated, hopelessly addicted drug user. His descent into darkness began with an explosive conflict between Ted and his abusive stepfather.
And so he said to me that day that I can't stay in his home. And I thought, well, that's not your call. That's my mom's call to say I can't stay there. And I look at my mom for like, okay, what's the decision here, Mom? And she said, well, it's his home, so you gotta go.
Ted ended up working in a local dockyard, doing chores that no one else wanted to do.
Every dirty job they could find in the dockyard to do, they called Ted.
At a nearby taxi stand, one of the drivers took note of Ted's predicament.
I was in his vehicle and he offered me a beer. I don't drink. I tell him I don't drink beer. I don't drink. And he said, stop being a little boy now. You're hanging out with me. You got to be a man. And one day, he took out his homemade cigarette and light it, and he offered me. I know it was marijuana. And I said, I don't smoke. And he said, there you go again with this little boy thing. Smoke the thing. And so I wanted to be accepted. You know, it's my body and everything. And so I take the first pull.
Ted and his friends made a decision never to use cocaine, even though they had access to it.
But one day, there was no weed on the island. We wanted a high, we wanted to get nice. We decided we're going to use cocaine. You know, once you make that transition, that's it. So when weed come back and we smoke weed again, it's not the same. And from that, I started experiencing all sorts of drugs, crack, cocaine, uppers, downers, we were using pills. I went into a relationship that didn't work out. And because of that, I used to just want to take advantage of women. And I was sitting there one day and this girl walked by and I asked the taxi guy, who is she? The girl I'm talking about is the girl who turned out to be my wife.
Ted was a very quiet person, very conservative, didn't talk much. Just an ordinary guy, nothing too appealing.
We started dating and while we were dating, she said, you should go to church.
What's interesting, when I met Ted and I went to his house, he always had this big Bible. He was always reading the Bible. So I started to recommend to him, look, you're reading the Bible, why not come to church?
I used to read just Proverbs because I think I wanted to be wise. And I would get high, so high at night sometime. And I would take that Bible and I would write in it, I, Ted Illingworth Martin, stop smoking, write the date, got rid of all the drugs that I have. And in the morning, I would call my friend and say, I messed up. You got to bring me some more drugs, boss. And tear that leaf out that Bible. I just couldn't get off of it. No matter how I tried, I just could not kick the habit.
Even so, Ted managed to maintain the appearance of a normal life as he pursued Anne-Marie.
Ted was this giving, this caring person. And I thought he was a very safe relationship to go into at that time. And then as I spent more time with him, then the commitment started and I started to fall in love with the man.
All through their courtship and the beautiful start of their marriage, Anne-Marie had no idea that Ted was secretly using hard drugs.
One day I was home and it was like, I don't know if it's the Spirit speak to me or what, but I would say like God saying to me, come apart. And I just started walking, not knowing where I was going. I found myself on a hill overlooking Pigeon Point Beach. And I stayed up there that night. In fact, I was up there for 3 nights, crying out to God. And he said to me, you need to go back down and share your testimony with the church. So I thought that cannot be God because nobody knows. And if I tell the church, everybody's going to know. It's like God is our secret. Don't shame me like that, you know? But I then said, well, if that's what it's going to take, I'm going to do it.
That night, Ted went to church alone without first telling Anne-Marie about his secret drug addiction or what he was going to share with the congregation.
Folks in the church was crying. Folks gathered around me afterward and said, Ted, we didn't know this and all of that. But I just wanted to get home to get to my wife. And on my way home, I could hear my wife crying.
I just started crying and just like, did I marry to someone using drugs? Because I saw all the negative effects of using the hard drug, you know. I said, why didn't you tell me so I could have made a decision whether I wanted to marry you?
Then she said the words that should be engraved in a stone or something. She said, both of us is going to work on it.
That's the man that you fall in love with, that you just got married, we're pregnant. So at that point, knowing who I am, really a forgiving person, I said, look, I'm going to support you. I'm going to be there with you.
That for me was like, if I die now, that would be okay. That was like all the hope that you could ever think about.
I genuinely loved Ted. I saw all the positive in him rather than the negatives at that time. So I focused on that. Then I chose to be the best supportive wife.
However it happened, the desire for drugs was gone.
Ted and Anne-Marie have been married for more than 26 years, and he continues to remain clean, sober, and drug-free. The time Ted once spent using drugs is now devoted to studying the Bible.
I love studying God's word. It's the high I get when I get a revelation from the word of God. None of my drugs have ever given me that kind of high and that feeling and that joy. None.
God used everything Ted had been through to get him to where he is now. And he can do the same for you. The difficulties, the challenges, the hardship. But listen to these words from the Bible. Romans 8, verse 28 says, all things work together for good, them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose.